In today's session, we will see the operations that need to be conducted in order to write some character or some content or some string inside a file. Okay, so in the previous session, we have learned how to open a file and how to write something inside a file, or how to read something from a file. And today we will see how to write something to a file. So just to revise, if we want to read something in our normal programs, suppose we don't use file handling, then what do we do? To read, if we want to read something, then from where do we read it? From the output window. Okay, we read from the output window. Okay, using scanf. And if we want to write something, or if we want to display something, then where it gets displayed? From the program to the output window, right? So you'll read also from the output window, and you'll write also to the output window. Okay, read from and write to. But in file handling, you need to, if you are reading or writing, the destination is different. In case of file handling, if you want to read, you have to read from your file. That means file becomes your input source. And if you want to write something, you can write it also to your file. So file becomes your destination also. Okay, so if you want to read something, we have to read it from the file and display in our program. And if you want to write something, we have to write it to the file from the program, right? I hope you have understood these things, like from where we have to read and from where we have to write. And whatever we read from the file, it can be displayed in our program, right, as the output. Similarly, if we want to write something from the file, we have to write it in our program. Okay, so these are just some common things. Now let us see how we can write something. So we have to first open our file, but this time, since we want to write something inside our file, we will have to use a different mode over here. This is called the mode. The second parameter that you pass to your fopen function is the mode. Okay, so you need to use the mode W. For read, which character we wrote over here instead of W? Anyone remembers?
R.
Yes, we wrote R. Very good. Now we have to again check whether the file can be opened successfully or not. So initially the file pointer is null, then you open the file. But if the pointer is still null, means you have not been able to open the file successfully. But suppose you have opened the file successfully, now pointer is not null, it is a non-null value. So in the else part will get executed, you will return 1, means file has been opened successfully, right? We have seen this. Then we can either read a single character, or we can read multiple characters but one by one, or we can we can read a complete string. Okay, we can read a single character by executing case 1, that is using fgetC function. Okay, so if you want to read a single character, you have to use fgetC. Okay, and what are the parameters you have to pass? Only the file pointer. So I'll write here file pointer. Okay, this is the summary table. File pointer, if you want to read it using character by character, a single character you want to read, then fgetC. But if you want to read multiple characters using fgetC, then use your looping statement. And within your loop, you have to keep reading. And at the end of the file, there is end of file character. So if you reach that character, you must break from the loop. Okay. So if you want to read multiple characters one by one using fgetC, then within your loop, you must write. So you can have any loop, while loop or for loop. And there you have to use fgetC. And same parameter you have to pass, that is your file pointer. Then if you want to read a string in one shot, or if you want to read the complete content of your file, what you have to do, you have to use fgets function. What are the parameters? The string in which the content of the file will be stored. whatever you read from the file will be stored in str. And if you want to read first two characters, pass 3, because in the string the last character is null. So you'll read 2 characters plus 1 null character. So the size of the string that you pass here should be 3. And the file pointer. So you can generalize it by saying f get s function, and you need to first pass the name of the string, then the count or how many characters you want to read from the file, and then you must pass the file pointer. Okay, so this is the summary for reading a file. Now we want to write a single character to the file, that we will see. And you have another method also, that is if you want to read the complete content, you can use fscanf. But there is one drawback, right? You cannot read a space. If you encounter a space, then only the first word that is before the space will be read. If you come across a next line or a new line character, then it will stop reading. So at space and new character, it will stop reading. It will read the only the content which is before the first space. So there is another method to read the complete content, but it is not used. So this was method 1. Method 2 is using fscanf. And the parameters that you need to pass: file pointer, then the %s, because you are going to read a string. Whatever is stored in the file is in the form of a string. And then you must use the name of the string into which the content of the file will get stored, and you can print the value of the string variable. Right? So are these 3 methods clear how we can read the file?
Yes.
Okay. Now we will write a single character to the file. So like how you had here f get c function and file pointer, similarly here you'll have f put c. Okay, like how in strings we have get and put, that here we have get and put as well. Now to put the character means you have to provide the character. Okay, in file pointer reading, what we are doing, the character was already stored in the file and we have to just read the character. But if we want to put a character, we must specify which character we want to put inside the file as well as the file pointer. So the syntax is f put c, then whichever character you want to put, and then the name of the file pointer. Now here I'm trying to put see, I've written a string over here. I've defined a string. Source string Delhi is in India. Okay, so this string finally should be inside my file. Delhi is in India. So before that, let me show you the file that we had created last time. So last time this was the content. Rajgarh is a fort. Okay, now once we write something, the content should change. So that we have to test. So Delhi is in India should be written. Now I am writing in case for a single character, that is the element or the character at index 3 of this string. So string has what characters in it? Delhi is in India. So at index 0 you have D, at index 1 E, at index 2 L, and at index 3 H. So at index 3 H, that character I want to write in my file. Okay, that is what I mean to say by source string of 3 means the character H within the string that I want to write, and the file pointer. And if you don't write C is equal to, it's okay. Why I've written, I'll tell you. This, if you just call this function, built-in function, it will write to the file. Inside the file, it will be written. But suppose you want to know whether the parameter has been passed properly to this function or not, what you have to do, you have to have a char variable, char c, and write c is equal to this function call. So what this function will do, it will not only write the character to your file, inside your file, but it will also tell you which character is being written. Okay, and that character which is being written should be the same character which you are passing as the parameter. The parameter that I've passed here is nothing but h character, right? source string of 3 means h character I'm passing, and that h will be written, as well as this function call will return that character h. And whatever the function call returns, I can store it in a variable c, right? So this value of the variable c should be h character, because I'm passing the character h to this function call. So the value of c should be h. And that same value of c variable, I'm going to print that the character I wrote was %c c. So using this, I can print out the character that is getting passed to this function call. Now, not necessary that a character of a string only you must write. You can also write a single character like this within single quote. So second time what I'm going to write, I'm going to write the character A inside my file. Okay, and that will get returned and stored in C variable, and I can print that the character I wrote next, the character that I wrote next was C. That should be A actually. Okay, so let me run this much and show you. So we have executed case 1, 2, 3 last time. Now we'll directly execute from case 4 onwards. So I'm executing case 4. So file opened successfully. So we can perform the write operation. If it doesn't open successfully, we cannot perform. So the character I wrote was H, right? The first character was the one which the first character that I wrote was the H variable. Okay, so I wrote the H variable, the H character, and that is getting stored in C by this C. In this C it is getting stored, and I'm printing the H. Similarly, this A I'm going to print, and it will get returned in C. So next time what is getting printed, the character I wrote next was A. Okay, and now let us check our file. So I'll open my folder in which the file is created, and let's see. So as you can see, first H had been written and then A has been written. So Rajgad is a 4 disappears, okay? Because the characteristic of the write mode is, if there is already existing content in your file, that gets erased, and then whatever new content you write, only that will be present in your file. Okay, I repeat, whatever content was already there in your file, that will get erased and new content will be written if it is write mode. And suppose the file does not exist, then it will be created and then it will be written. So I'll write this down also for you so that you remember. So if file does not exist, it will get created and it will be opened for writing. So if the file does not exist, the write mode will first create it and then open it, and then you can write to it. But suppose the file already exists, that is another case that we need to discuss. If file already exists but is empty, means there is no content in the file, but the file exists, means suppose you have deleted all the content of your file. Okay, that time what will happen, it will get opened directly without getting created because it already exists, and it will be open for writing. Another case is what, file already exists but it already has certain content stored in it. File already exists but is non-empty, you can say, or previous content. Then what will happen, content gets erased or deleted automatically, or you can say implicitly. Implicitly means automatically, and new content written to the file gets stored. Okay, these are the three possibilities. File does not exist, file already exists but is empty, and file already exists and already has some content. Okay, for write mode. Now let us see what is case 5. Have you all understood case 4? That is single character how we can write. Have you all understood?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And you have to pass two parameters. When we have to read what we did, only file pointer, because content is already there in the file and we have to read it. But writing time, file pointer as well as character. So first the character you must specify and then the file pointer. Okay, this is the difference. Now entire content if you want to read, then we can do it character by character as in case number 2. If we want to read the whole content but one by one character, then we can do it using a looping statement and f get c. Similarly, if we want to write the complete content but one by one, means character by character we want to write inside the file, then again use your loop. But here there is one change in the code, that is first you have to check if the source string ka character, means if I'm reaching the null character of my string, this is my string that I want to write inside my file. If I'm reaching the null character, means string is over, so that time I have to break. So loop will get terminated. I'll come out of the loop. But if it is not null, I have to do something. What I have to do? Again, I have to write the first character. So initially I have initialized I is equal to 0 on top over here. Here I is equal to 0. And then what I'm doing? I will store the character at the index I using f put c, and it will return the character which I'm going to store in C variable. I can print the character which I'm going to pass to the function call, and then I have to do I plus plus so that I can access the next character of my string. So then I plus plus will happen. Then I will check whether the source string of 1. Okay. So you'll better understand if I dry run it. So initially you will check if source string of 0, because I is first, it is 0. If it is equal to null or not. If yes, then I need to break. Otherwise, what I'll do, I will store the character in my file. We have just now seen how to do it. Store the character. Then what will happen? I will do I plus plus. That means now I has become what? 1. Then I have to check the same condition for the index 1. So now next character I will check, is it null? No. Then I'll store the character I plus plus and so on. But when the last character null comes, I must directly break. Why? Because I do not have to write the null character to my file. Right? There is no need to write the null character to your file, because in the file the last character is end of file character, EOF. Okay, here we have to not write null character, so I'm going to break as soon as I get the null character. In reading, what we did, we checked whether the last character of the file is end of file. If the last character in the file we reach is end of file, then we have to break, we have to not continue reading. For writing, what you have to check, the last character of your string. But for reading, what you have to check, last character of your file. Okay, I hope you get this similarity. So I'll write this also over here. So just as a pseudo code or as a rough program, I'm writing loop until, for reading, loop until means repeat until EOF not reached. Means you have to keep on repeating, or let me write loop if EOF not reached. If end of file character has not been reached, then you have to continue looping. So loop if end of file not reached. Here what will be the case? Loop if, in case of writing, what you'll do, you loop if your null character, that is \0. Loop if this character not reached. Right? End of file character is of the file. End of file of file. Here null character of the string. Okay, so these are many similarities you'll find like this. So you have to keep on reading unless you find the null end of file character, and you have to keep on writing unless you find the null character of the string. Have you got this difference?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And what you have to do, you have to put the characters one by one. So f put c, and you know that first you have to pass the character and then the file pointer name. Okay, that's what we have done here. In case number 5, character means the elements of the source string one by one, and then the file pointer. And then as you do I plus plus, it is just like saying that you have stored the element at 0 index, you have stored the element at index 1, you have stored the element at index 2. So simultaneously, as I do I plus plus, it is nothing but I'm counting the characters that have been stored in my file, right? So lastly, I can print the value of I, that is total characters written to the file are I, because I is getting incremented each time. So it will reach before null, means that is how much I have written in my file. So I can say that I have written I characters in my file. Have you got this? You don't need to have a separate count variable. Simply when you do I plus plus, the final value of I is nothing but the total characters that you have written to your file. Have you got this?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll run this case also now. That is case number 5. So I have displayed it how the character written is the character written is. So that is what I'm getting at the output. So file opened successfully. Then character written is the string ka characters, that is D, then E, L, H, I. Delhi has been written. Then space is space in space India. Right? Whole string has got written. And if you count the characters, total number of characters is 17. Okay. Now if I don't want to write this, the character written is the character written is. There's a spelling mistake here. Anyways, you have to simply print %c. Okay, and no need of backslash. So now what will happen? You will get the whole string as a single string. So I can run case 4, case 5. So what you're getting, Delhi is in India. Okay. Now case number 6. That is, you want to read the complete content in one shot. Here what you did, you used fgetS. So can you guess which will be the inbuilt function for reading the complete content of file? Any guesses? What should be the name of the built-in function? See here what we have, fgetC. It became fputC. So fgetS, what it will become?
F get R.
No, no, fputS. No, we are writing, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, because we are not getting something from the file, we are putting something into the file. See, in reading what it was, fgetC. Similarly, for writing what it will become, fputC. So fgetS becomes fputS. Okay. So it's not necessary that you can remember all these built-in functions. Just remember it for the reading part and just like convert it for how it will be for the writing part, right? So you don't need to remember the names of the functions actually. So here in case 6, we are writing the complete content in one shot. So first I'll open my file. Okay. Then what I'll do, I will put the, I will call the function, and as the parameter, I have to pass the complete string, the name of the string, and the file pointer in fputS. In fgetS, what we could do, and one more change, that is in fgetS, we can read a particular bunch of characters. For example, we can read first 2 characters, then we can read next 4 characters, and so on using fgetS. How? The name of the string in which the content will be stored. How much content will be stored? First 2 characters. If you pass 3, right? But there is no such thing that you can write a particular bunch of characters. You have to only write the complete string. You cannot write first 5 characters of the string, then you cannot write next 5 characters, then you cannot write next 7 characters. No, the complete string only you can write. You cannot write a particular set like this. Okay, that is another difference. In fputS, what you will do, you will write the complete string. See, here you have to pass only 2 parameters. In fgetS, what we did, first the string, then how many characters of the string, and then the file pointer. But here, only the string and the file pointer. Okay, this is another change. So in fputS, what we'll do, we'll pass the complete string, the name, which we want to write, and The only another parameter is left, that is the file pointer. Only two parameters. So that is what I've done here, string name and file pointer. And this is first method to write the complete content. So the file content is, and then I can either print the source string or simply you read your file, right? Because whatever you're passed is the string. So either you can say that the file content is the string and print out the string, or you can simply read your file. You can read the complete content of your file, which will be nothing but the string that you've written. Okay, so either write your source string or you better read your file. Both will give you the same output. And then close your file. Okay, so let me execute this one. This will be case number 5. No, case number 6. So file opened successfully. Method 1, content of the file is in Delhi is in India. And if you go to see a file now, it is still HA, because each time you update your file, you have to again open it through your graphical user interface. Through your folder, you have to go inside your folder and then open the file. Okay, this what is written here is before updating. This file that I've opened is before updating. I've opened the file, then updated. But the changes will not be reflected here to the previous opened file. You have to close this file and again open it. And see, this time I've opened the same file, but the content is the updated one. Delhi is in India. Okay, so don't think that the operation is failing or something. Just open your file again. Okay. Now method 2 is using the fprintf function. Like how we had fscanf function for reading, which is the file version of scanf. Similarly, you have the file version of printf. Okay. Here also parameters are same. In fscanf, what you are passing file pointer, then %s because you want to read the complete string, and then in which string you want to read, or in which string you want to store the content of the file, that string name. Similarly, here the parameters remain same, but the meaning will be little different. The meaning is file pointer means to which file you want to write, or in which file you want to write, inside which file you want to write, that ka file pointer. And you want to write a string, so %s, and uh, which string you want to write inside, that string name. Here the string that you specify in read operation is in which string you want to store the content of the file, but in write operation the string name that you give is which string you want to write inside the file. Okay, so the meaning is a little different, which you need to take care. So that's what I passed, file pointer %s and the name of the string, and the file content is name of the string, or you better read your file. After writing, you can read your file. It will give you the updated content. So I'll run this program to execute choice number 6. So by method 2 also, Delhi is in India. Okay. So we have seen all the file write operations as well. Any doubts up till now?
No.
Okay, so we have nicely seen the comparison also between the different functions. And this table will help you to remember. So we can read a single character, we can write a single character. We can read the complete character one by one. We can read the complete content one by one character. We can write the complete content character by character by looping. And the termination condition is what? End of file and null character. And we can read the complete string or complete content in one shot using the getS function, fgetS and fscanf. But fscanf has a drawback that you cannot read the space. Otherwise, if you encounter a space, it will stop reading. But in fprintf, let's see what happens now. Okay, fputs you can use similar to fgetS. They will read the complete content. Fputs will read the space also. Let us see for fprintf. So as you saw, Delhi is in India. What it has, the string has the space in between it, right? Delhi space is space in, but it read the complete thing, right? I just now executed and showed you that it will read the space also, fprintf by method 2. And now if I want to write something line by line, now what was happening here, the string, if I have over here in my string, in my source string, suppose I write \n. So I have defined my source string here, Delhi is in India. I write backslash n over here. So let's see whether backslash n will get written to the file or will it go on the next line. Okay, so I am going to execute case 6 only so that we get the complete content of the file. So as you can see, Delhi is, then on the next line, in India. Okay. So another comparison between read and write is, mm, this is a different comparison. So I'll highlight this. See, to read the next line means to read multi-line. I'll write to read multi-line content. To read multi-line content of the file. You can read from the file. So to read multi-line content of the file or inside the file. Okay, I'm using simple words to understand better. And in writing, what you can do to write or to store, to write or to store, what you can store multi-line content or multi-line content or string, multi-line strings. To read multi-line content inside the file, while suppose the content is already written in the file, already the content is written in the file, then what you have to do, if you are writing manually, the content should be written by pressing the enter key. So Delhi is, I will write, I'll press enter key and then in India. So you can say that use enter key to read the content of the file. Okay, so when I read this content, automatically it will print out Delhi is and then on the next line in India. So let me test that. So I'll use read mode and I'll execute case 1, 2 or 3 and the remaining cases for now I'll comment out because I'm reading. Okay, so hopefully it gets exited. It will get executed. So have I saved my file? See that I have not saved this file now. So first let me save this file. That Delhi is in India. I have saved it. Either go to file, save. Okay. Now I will run this program and execute case number 3. So the file content is the first 2 characters and then the next characters. File content is did not get printed. File content is %s and string, and you're using fgetS. Okay, so it should read. Okay, we'll check that. And you, so okay, so you use enter key, and to write or store multi-line strings, you can use \n in the string. Okay, use \n character in the string so that when it gets written to the file, it will get written in the what you say the next line. Okay, so you test these conditions also to write or read multi-line content. Okay, you can test them on your own, and next time we'll see, I'll show you the solution that how we can use this multi-line writing. Then the programs that are remaining to get executed are to copy the content from one file to another file, then to manipulate the content of a file, and all such cases. Okay, so that we will see next time. For today we can stop here. Okay, so any doubts you can ask me, others put your attendance in the chat box. And any doubts in command line arguments? Have you seen those 2 videos which I've sent you?
I have a doubt.
Yes.
In this session, only in today's session, in the right statement, if in the right mode, if I don't want the previous written data, I don't want it to get erased, and I just want to add more lines. I
Yes.
want to continue writing it. So is there any method available for it?
Yes, there is a method. You have to just change the mode. For reading R, for writing W, and if you want to add the content at the end, or if you want to insert the content without erasing the previous content, you have to use the append mode. So if you want, I can show it to you now only. You have to use the A letter over here, append, instead of W or R or whatever. And if I want to execute now, I'll uncomment this. And here also I use the opening, so I'll change this also to A. Here also I'll change it to A. Okay, so now let us execute. So the current content of my file is Delhi is in India. Now I'll run this and execute case number 6. Okay, now I will open the file. See here. Delhi is in India was already written. Then by method 1 of writing the whole content Delhi is in India. And again by method 2. Twice we have done it, by method 1 and method 2. So by method 1, this one is getting printed, Delhi is in India. And by next method, this one, Delhi is in India. Okay. So this is what you can do. You can uh, not erase the previous content. It is possible. So different modes are there, that also we have to see. Any other doubt?
Okay.
You can put your attendance.
No more doubts.
Okay. If you have put your attendance, you can leave. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.